Welcome to Raising the Bar podcast.
Sponsored by the Ashmore Law Firm.
We're your hosts and siblings,
Gary Ashmore.
and Lori Ashmore Peters.
Subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
We are back with Raising the Bar podcast with your co-hosts and siblings.
Indeed.
I mean, that's important, not husband and wife, but siblings.
Correct.
Lori Ashmore Peters.
And Gary Ashmore.
All right. And we are here with our very, very special guest, David Call.
Thank you.
What can I say? Interior designer extraordinaire.
You could say that.
I can say that. And I can also say you walked into our little studio here with a little bit of, oh my God, a little
Design
horrified.
therapy. Design
Is it-
therapy.
okay.
Oh,
I mean,
design
I'm saying
therapy. There we
horrified,
go.
but
It's
Everybody
design
needs some
therapy.
design therapy. Got it. Go
As I
ahead.
had to explain, to David that when we were growing up, our fitted sheet never matched our top sheet, never matched the comforter or the pillowcases.
The carpets didn't match the drapes.
No,
Oh,
nothing.
no.
Nothing. Oh, no. So we're a little bit fashion challenged.
Got you.
But we are so thankful. Thank you for being on this podcast with us.
It's a pleasure. This is going to be fun.
I know. I'm excited. All right. So who is David Call?
Oh, goodness.
In 30 seconds or less.
David, that's going to be simple, though. Well, based upon, a lot of David Call is based upon where I was born, how I was raised, and that has come back because I'm going to be turning 60, which shocks me.
No way.
And so this happens with a lot of people, that your past catches up with you, not in a bad way, but kind of like, what would you tell your child self? And that's kind of who David is re-engaging with how you grew up and infusing it into where you are now.
Ew, I like
So honestly, I am a well-cultivated designer, a well-meaning designer, and quite frankly, I feel like I've become the well-rounded self that I always wanted to be, and now I get to cultivate that. So I'm never a finished product. I'm simply a work in progress.
I like
Okay.
that a lot.
So born where? Where are you from? Born and raised.
I was born in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I was moved at 2. I had no choice to come to Oklahoma. But
Okay.
Oklahoma is, well, as they say, a wonderful place to raise children. It was. We arrived and there was a blizzard. We're talking snow this high. It's back in the days when there was a lot of snow in Oklahoma. And then we fast forwarded, and my parents put me into Oral Roberts University High School, very parochial. And we quickly learned that wasn't quite my fit. I'm too charismatic, I'm too organic, and it just didn't work for me. Luckily, I went to public schools also, and I had some very formative teachers who helped to guide me, graduating very early, and then started my first company when I was 19.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So that is where I was. All of that kept becoming and being cultivated until I moved to Dallas in about 1998. It's kind of fuzzy. I don't exactly remember. I tried to move here 3 times, and it was just that it cost a lot more to live in Dallas than it did in Tulsa. And also, you can spend as much or as little as you like and live here. And the first couple of times, I just couldn't find my niche, but the third time took.
Okay. Right.
And there were a lot of friends that lived here, so that helped out too.
So siblings? Did you have siblings growing up or no?
I have one brother.
Okay.
I love my brother. He is like my homage because he's a fireman.
Okay.
And he went
Wow.
all the way up the ladder. He went to the very top. He is now retired, and he is the director of hazmat for his area in Oklahoma.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Still standing director of that, because it takes a special person to be able to handle that situation if it arises. He is an amazing homestead man. He has, I think, 19 acres.
Okay.
And he's got
Nice.
a nice lake that goes through and all this. I mean,
Um.
he lives in a very comfortable, refined country homestead.
That
But
is,
I love going back there. It takes me back to how we grew up a little bit. Not to mention my brother and I we just have a great time together.
Okay.
cool.
Cool.
So do we.
We do. That's
Oh,
right.
I know you do.
I mean, I say I love you.
Love you too, of course.
I mean, we have our
Sounds like there's a limit there.
well, no, we do have our arguments.
There's
Of course
boundaries.
you do.
No,
Of course you do. You work in law.
That's
But the
right.
great
It
thing
wouldn't
is-
be. It wouldn't be fun if you didn't argue a little bit.
wouldn't
That's
be.
exactly right.
It wouldn't be, and we actually like hanging out with each other outside of work. Believe it or not. I mean, we can have our arguments, and
That's
some
like-
expletives may come flying out every now and then.
That's right.
But then we get hungry, and it's like, okay, time out. Let's go to lunch.
Let's go eat. That's right.
All right. So you started your first company, you said, when you were 19, and what was that?
Believe it or not, because of how we grew up, that goes into a question I know that you wanted to know. We grew up very poor.
Yeah.
We were food stamp kids. We didn't have a stable environment in any way, shape, or form. And when I talked about my mother putting me into parochial school, there's a reason. And so as we grew up, graduating early, I had no idea what these tests I was taking. And evidently the testing, of course, the normal testing everybody goes through to go to college, took it, scored very high, had no idea what it was. I just turned around and walked off. Had no idea
Oh my God.
what could have been offered based upon that score. And I graduated at 17. So in my family's life, you graduate, you're out the door.
Okay.
I was already making more than my mother at 17. Because we didn't know what college was. We didn't have any exposure. Even though I went to this parochial school, there was still no exposure because they were rich. My mother was leveraging herself to the point of no money just to put me in Oral Roberts University High School. It's a common situation. Your mother wants the best for you, and that's what she gave. But I didn't know what to do with it afterwards. So what I knew how to do was be creative and work. I had a strong work ethic. And so that's how I started the first business. The first one I started was a leverage from I was getting jobs at retail. So I was working at a bookstore and became the manager.
Okay. So wait, what was your very first job?
Working at the bookstore.
At the bookstore. Okay.
Right.
got
Well,
it.
no, it would be at Brahms like everybody
That's what I'm
else.
asking. That's what I wanted to
Everybody
hear.
else. Most
I
kids
wanna
know their
hear-
first job is at Starbucks.
Right.
Right.
Mine
No.
was Brahms.
Brahms. There we go.
Right.
Okay.
So that was I know you're going to edit this. That was a job. I hated it. It was terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just barely 16. And all of that. So it was Brahms, then the bookstore management, and then I started working at a wallpaper store.
Okay.
That was the kickoff for me. I was able to be as fashion forward and flamboyant as I ever wanted to be.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
This was a privately owned wallpaper store. It was large. It was Wallpapers to Go. You know, the
Okay. Yeah.
old chain
Uh-huh.
stores.
Yep.
So that's where it was. And the owners were charismatic. They loved me. I started doing trainings on how to wallpaper properly on Saturday and Sunday afternoons. I would have 20 people
Wow.
in front of me. I taught them about wallpaper textures. I got the owners to go ahead and do special order programs. They had no idea what that was when they met me. They were doing in stock. That's it. Fly it off the shelves. We're done. A little bit of product. I showed them what you can do with customization. And that's where their business launched off. And that's when they asked me, would you be interested? You need to take off. You've hit your ceiling here.
Here. Right. Okay.
And at that point, that's where I would be Sunday afternoons. I didn't even have to work. I went into work because I loved it so much. I got to meet wealthy ladies because we were in a nice neighborhood, not my old one. Nice ladies who had money, and they were nice. That's what I loved. And they also appreciated me, which was also a bonus. So this was part of your confidence, building your confidence as a kid who, if I wasn't in that space, I'm going back home. I still have a little confidence, but that was my confidence, was being creative.
Absolutely.
So I'd be sitting on the table, opening up custom wallpaper. This would be great with this, would be great with this. Now, if you want to do the other room or the bathroom, look at that. Open up, look how amazing. This is the same thing I do in design now, 30 years later, which is, but now it's professional. Now it's done with courtesy. Now it's done with planning. Then I was just charismatic and flying it open. Well, that's retail. That's how you can do it in retail. There's a good thing and a bad thing about how retail has basically evaporated because of all of the financial issues of the past 20 years with businesses. But that has also given designers the opportunity to do what we've always done, but even more.
Right.
But that's how my first business started. He gave me an endowment, and he was the first of many people who saw in me and invested in me.
Right.
And there were parameters. They did not want me to buy a franchise. They said, we just want to help you because we don't have children. We can't have children. You're like one of our children.
Oh, wow.
We want to raise you up, because they knew that the family situation I grew up in, and you know, that was just a few years before. So this is still fresh for me.
Right.
So I started that. I had the wallpaper business, and I was installing wallpaper. That's what I did for a living. I would work at the wallpaper store. I would go to people's homes in very wealthy areas. It was the Utica Square area in Tulsa.
Okay.
Very wealthy. I loved it. It was like I was at home. It felt so comfortable.
That's amazing.
Taking care of people in an environment where they appreciate it.
Exactly.
And that's not that I don't appreciate the way I grew up and that challenge, but I appreciate this more.
You appreciate it more, but the way you grew up also is what gave you the strength.
Exactly.
I mean, every experience that we have during our lives, we build on that, and that's how we become who we are.
Exactly. And I'm so thrilled that I met people who believed in me and gave me that spark.
Gave you the opportunity.
Right.
Of course.
Not to go backtrack, but one person who actually changed the course of my life early was my third grade teacher. Her name was Mrs. Dillard. Hi. And I love her. She and I met about 6 years ago. At her age, I met my third grade teacher. I think she was 80.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was just having my birthday, so I don't know which one that was, somewhere in my 50s.
My goodness.
I was meeting my third grade teacher in my 50s, and she was still amazing. I was part of a select group of special children who were unbridled and needed guidance. She did what you see in a lot of movies. She did creative writing, and she did course change. I was in her courses for a few years. She was my guidance counselor. She is the one who taught me how to write. She's the one who guided my creativity, which was a little chaotic.
Okay.
And she honed it.
And that is so rare. I mean, it is so rare to find people out there that truly care.
Yes. And she truly was. And I'm so grateful to her, because at that time I could have skidded into Lord knows what kind of role. And at third grade, you need to be guided. But her strength pushed me forward, got me to graduate early, got me into the mindset that I still have now. And I love going back to Oklahoma to see my brother and to see my third grade teacher and to see just a few of my best friends who I'm still connected with.
Right.
So if you had to talk to you graduated at the age of 17. If you had to talk to your, 13 or 14-year-old self, what would you, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself, and would that have impacted your path?
That's an interesting question. I would have to say that I would tell myself, quit talking to too many people about your situation. Trust yourself. Make the decision. Quit being scared. Quit being fearful, and just talk to the person you think is really going to change your life and go with it.
Yeah, that's important. Go for it. Why not?
Don't chatter with
Right.
all these people. Talk to the person you're almost fearful to talk to, and trust that, and go forward.
That is great advice. That is great advice to your 13 or 14-year-old self. You mentioned that you didn't go to college. Do you have, a lot of people always ask, do you have any regrets?
Not trusting my inner child
Is that
and
okay?
doing that.
Going back to that, right?
Because honestly, what I learned that I had to do if I wasn't going to be able to go to college, after that first job I started, really at Wallpapers to Go, and then having the first business, that business really never stopped. But now, instead of hanging the wallpaper, I hire the wallpaper hanger and I select the paper for my clients. But the thing is that it truly is that I started interning with interior designers in design firms as I worked at a regular job. I went ahead and took a job by my mother's advice, of course. It was 24. She said, you need to get insurance and you need to have a stable job, David. This messing around is like, Mother, I'm making more money than you are.
Well,
What are
see,
you
right.
talking about?
That's right.
She's like, but you need an investment program. She was looking for my future,
Okay.
not my current day. But the thing is that when I got this job, it went from, believe it or not, selling mini blinds. This is like selling wallpaper and selling books. It's like, yeah, this is not going to work. So I worked there for 3 weeks, and the director of this store, which is about the size of a Walmart, it was fabulous. It was high end and it was wonderful. But she asked me, she said, would you like to go to market with me? I had never been on a plane and I had never been to Dallas.
Oh, my
Wow.
goodness.
This is still earlier. She took me to market. She was the buyer.
Wow.
She took me to the mansion. She took me, and I love it, another person who took me under their wing.
So you were
and-
like a kid in a candy store.
It really was, but I had no
Right.
idea what I was doing
Right.
until she came back and she said, how would you like to be our buyer?
Wow.
Wow.
And that's when I was in heaven. So for that store, I became the buyer. They made me accessory buyer. Then they made me upholstery buyer, then case goods. And then they said, how would you like to just design the entire showroom? And you're buying it. You may as well set it up.
Right.
Of course, they were loving just pawning off the work to be it. I'm
course.
like,
And
of
you're
course.
you're that
You're
you're
the
that
help.
kid in the candy
Now he's
store.
the help, but-
Right.
exactly. I'm a kid in the candy store. I'm having the best time ever. I loved it. I got a raise. I got a raise. And it turned out terrific. While I was doing that, they had a wood shop, they had an upholstery shop, and they had a drapery shop. I learned about every bit of that because I saturated myself with the workers that were back there, learning the trade that it's not what designers would learn, but you're learning a lot about upholstery and case goods and everything that makes a home design come together. That's the back end of the decorating part. So I was with them for 6 years, and then one of the vendors, shall we say, the representatives came to me and said, there's a job in this really high-end place, and you'd have to move to Oklahoma City. So I went to Oklahoma City. I got the job. That was the first time I landed working with interior designers. There were 9 of them.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
interned with them.
Okay.
They had CAD. They had everything. They taught me. I didn't know what NCIDQ was. I didn't know because I never went to college.
Right.
But I knew that if I interned under these designers, I need to get some level of accreditation. I need to get something to where I can understand what design truly is. And that's where I got a lot of my formative training, was through that group.
That's just, I mean, that's amazing. Just so many opportunities. And
If you take the opportunities when you don't have the college available for you, if you make yourself available and just go after it, and that's part of that inner child question. No, go talk to the person who you think is going to make you uncomfortable.
right.
You just tell them what you're thinking. That's the person who's going to help drive you.
Mm-hmm. It's you kept taking your toe outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
And it just would get wider and wider and wider. That's amazing. So we're going to take a quick break to pay some of the bills. And we will be right back with David Call. Thank you.
I'm Matthew JC, founder of Operation Rock the Troops. We created a new program for veterans, if they choose to accept it. They will go on a 7-day tour to Ireland, meet national artists and talk about their struggles. And by the end of the mission, write and perform a song to bring their story to life. Anything can happen, but one thing is for sure: when words fail, music speaks. This is their story. This is their highway home.
All right, so welcome back to Raising the Bar with myself and my sister, Lori Ashmore Peters. And we're back with David Call. We've heard a lot about who David Call was, where he's from, where he was born and raised, and now we're going to talk about who David Call is currently. So go ahead.
Yes. So who is David Call now?
Whew. David Call now is just about everything I always wanted, and I know that I have the confidence now to talk to that person who makes me a little nervous.
Okay.
Um,
So hold on. So you get here in 98. When do you become, what's the name of your company now?
oh, it's David Call Designs.
Okay, and when did that start?
Well, David Call Interiors Inc. Is the ink part.
Okay.
I've had several layers of me. My marketing guy is like, would you quit coming up with a new logo already?
Right, of course.
They're all iterations of each other.
Uh-huh.
But the true factor is that we're very, very steady with David Call Designs because of what designs could be. Could that be fashion in home fashion? Yes. Could it be furnishings? Yes. It could be anything. And that's where we look at the future of licensing.
Okay.
So that is part of our future that we're looking at, is possibly doing licensing deals. And that is as simple as when you go to market, if you know about like High Point Market, Las Vegas Market, if you go and there's a vendor that you love and you want to design for, you speak up and you ask.
Okay.
Would you like, I love your line. I would love to show you some designs I've done that I think and I know that could be great for your line. I have a brand. Can I design a line for you and just send it to you?
Right. Okay. Okay. So
and that
David,
way you get into a licensing deal.
right. So David Call Design's been in existence 20 plus years.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. All right. Okay. So go on. You were sharing with us what you're doing now.
So
currently.
it's I love it. I mean, it's amazing because you've got the David Call of the past, and then we're about to hear David Call present, but then you've already got the David Call future.
Well, it's
a work in progress.
It's a work in progress because literally things I did this morning are cultivating what's going to happen in 3 hours, which is going to happen in 3 days, which is going to happen next week. I already know that I am cultivating for the future. And I don't even know what those answers are going to be, but I know what I want. I do know what alliances I want, the collaborations. That's all that we're working on right now.
Okay.
Is collaborations. Interior design projects, we love it. That's our love factor. Collaborations it's the cultivation of that love. It's the cultivation of the energy that I want to put out, and that I want to make people happy. I want people to realize that you can be happy and not frustrated with design.
Right.
Ooh, I like that because
That's
I'm
right.
very frustrated with design. I get very overwhelmed. Okay, so what interesting design projects are you working on currently?
Well, we just finished shooting a large home in Plano.
Okay.
I'm so thrilled that I have a very nice client. And Julie is a wonderfully organic, relaxed lady. And we started the project, and it took development and nuances. As I was mentioning to you earlier, before we started this interview, was that I don't expect people to sign immediately. This is a relationship we're getting into. If you're a client of mine, and it can be as personal or impersonal as you like. But the fact of the matter is we're getting into a relationship. So I want to make sure that you're comfortable with it, and so am I.
Right.
And so that's why this took a little bit of relationship building, as it always does. This was a big project, and it took almost a year to do it. We literally replaced every finish, every nail, every screw, every hinge, every doorstop. If you think about, you did that deep, and we did everything else.
Right. Okay.
So what was your most frustrating moment with that big of a project?
Oh, I can
you
tell
pick
you.
one?
Oh, yes, I can.
Oh.
And I won't mention who he is. But the frustrating part was that with this project, I did not have my Anna yet. Kudos to Anna. I didn't have that support. I did all of it myself. I was the GC and I was the interior designer. I was managing a team of approximately 20, and I orchestrated the schedule for all of the subs, one after, yes, and there are several iterations. There isn't just the sheetrock guy is here and he's done. He has to come back a second time after some of the work is done by the electrician, done by. That's the contractor hat. I was wearing that. And then I was wearing the designer hat, which was scheduling. Once the projects were finished, when can we start ordering furniture? When can we start ordering drapes? When do we have to order windows? Oh, goodness, that should have been done first.
Yeah.
All of this, it all ties in because you want the drapes shortly after the windows go in. The window treatments, everything it's a careful orchestration. My frustration was, I'm glad I now have a general contractor on my team.
Of course.
Because we had an electrical failure that cost me a lot. And this was where we had to fire the electrician, and I hired a new one. I'm thrilled to have my electrician. All of my team members, when I was a GC, are now coming on, and my general contractor are now managing all of them.
Oh, nice.
Everybody has been
good.
told. Everybody's been notified, and I'm actually meeting with my general contractor after this. I love my contractor, and he is taking them on like children,
Right.
even though they're adults. But he's in charge, and they are thrilled to have somebody instead of me doing it.
Right.
So your
That way I could
company-
focus on design.
But you do it all. You have
I
the
know how to
capability
do it all.
to do it all.
Right. And we actually do that for clients who prefer me, and it's a
Okay.
small little job. I don't want to bother Patrick for a little bitty job, although I don't have a problem bringing him in. He is from New York, so he is a transplant, and that's why I don't mind entering my contractor in to meet clients, because there's a possibility that maybe they would be like, we like him. We want to renovate the upstairs and add on. Can you do that for us? Absolutely. Meet Patrick.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to put a team together that you like, and it's
Right.
got to be those people that share your same vision. Because
Exactly.
if not, you're wasting your time.
Exactly. And so that's why, as you will see on our website, that we now have Patrick as a contractor. We have Annalie Waterman as our architect. I have Tyler, who is our fashion guru stylist. I have Anna. She is my assistant designer and my personal and business assistant.
Okay.
And then you have me.
Right. Of course.
So that is the team currently. I also do have a Christmas designer who I hope will come on board. I'll just say Dee Dee, but not her last name yet because she hasn't signed yet.
Okay. All right.
Come
Got
on,
it.
Dee Dee.
Got
Come
it.
on, Dee Dee. But I've also been bad because I'm really bad at writing these contracts and making sure they're right. But it's basically, I'm giving all the power to these people to be powerful on behalf of me.
Right. Of course.
And it's all for the client. It's something I've made sure all of my associates understand, is that we're not doing this for me. For my gratification? Oh, heck no.
Right.
We're doing this for the client.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it is.
And it's amazing at how, from your company to what we do for a living as attorneys, I mean, the processes are still the same, and it gets lost with a lot of people out there and owners of companies out there that you're doing this for the client.
Exactly.
You're not doing it for yourself.
right.
You're not doing
That's
it
right.
for your team. You're not doing it for your
It's truly
social
not
media
very,
likes.
It's not
You're-
very self-serving.
No.
Right.
No, not at all. Not at all. That is fantastic. Okay, so what is one skill that you have that not many people know you have? I mean, I'm going to say for me, I've met you at different times.
Does this have to be business?
It does not have to be business, but I never knew that you were the GC and that you literally do it all.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
you
And
used to do it all.
wasn't just for the Plano house.
Right.
I'd done that for years.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Because what I saw was I was seeing failures on behalf of the project.
Right.
Because the people didn't know how to install it properly. They didn't know that. It was like, okay, I'm going to bring in people that I know, and that because I'm a bit of a micromanager, so I can actually manage a project. I don't like it when clients spend that much money on, let's say, tile or a light fixture, and it gets installed in
Right.
wrong.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And
Incorrect.
you're able to
Correct.
see that.
It's just frustrated because that's not what I designed. How did this go wrong? It's because they didn't have somebody who was managing. So that's what I ended up doing, was just, yeah, sure, I've got Juan. I'll have him come over and do this right.
But that brings such an incredible layer to what you do, what your company does, what you do. I mean, that's an incredible layer that you don't see often. Where you
There aren't
really-
many design teams that actually do construction.
Right.
And I do feel now that adding Patrick as a collaborator, I don't run him, I don't own him. He's a collaborator with me.
Okay.
I trust him. We have the same values, and that is of excellence with our clients. And so I'm very happy to take that hat off, although I understand all of it. And when we're making selections for clients, especially those clients that have a budget that affords quality, you want to make sure it's installed properly. So when we're making selections for clients, for every layer of your home, we're considering the installation while we're selecting the product. We want to make sure it's something that is going to work for you properly. It's going to give you the right scale that you need, and that it fits with the design of what you're doing.
See, I mean, that's fantastic. It's not like, oh, let me just go to Home Depot and buy it, and you get
No.
it there, and you're like, oh,
And
it
then
doesn't
you're
fit.
like,
a lot
oh,
more
it
to
doesn't
it.
fit. Oh, but I bought this on
There's a
Wayfair.
lot
It's
more
going
to
to
it.
arrive in a few days. Well, we already bought it. We can't return it, so we're keeping it. It's like,
Right. That's
Make it
right.
fit.
okay, if we're going to do a Wayfair house, let me know.
It'll
I
be-
can
that's
do
right.
you a contract for a Wayfair house.
That's exactly right.
That is awesome.
It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, it would be. It'll
Okay,
be fun.
so-
Skill. Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
A skill. What skill? What skill do you have that nobody knows you have, or very few people know you have? And it doesn't have to be business.
Okay, what skill do I have?
That's a
The
hard
skill,
question.
the skill that I have that I hope that I can continue to do physically is I love mountain climbing. And that's a
Oh,
skill.
wow.
Climbing
Okay.
is something that I did as a kid. It never stopped. I got here. I love to go to nature preserves when there's not 150 people there and just climb mountains. I've always been a runner. And I can't do that now. I have 2 new hips. And I cannot do that. I can walk, but mountain climbing and swimming are 2 things that I love to do because it's very good for all of my perspectives. It actually mellows my brain,
Okay.
which I really do love. But an exacting trait, I don't know, renderings. I love to draw.
Okay.
I
See,
love to read,
these are
and I
things
love to
people
draw.
would have no idea about David
but,
Call.
Well,
so that's
right.
good.
So, but were you a doodler when you were little?
Oh,
When
yeah.
you were young?
Oh, yeah.
Always doodling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. From a very, very early age, my mother said, David, all right, you can hang wallpaper. I don't care. You can do anything you want to the living room. That's fine. I found her a sofa and got one of my upholstery guys at 15 to reupholster it and put it in my mother's house. And she's like, what the heck is this? And then I started wallpapering her walls, and I started doing everything to everything. It was like the house was a test.
Right.
But yeah, doodling and doing things of that nature, we only had so much I could doodle with because of our situation. And I was never doing something with a pencil
Okay.
and sketch paper.
Okay.
We didn't know to do that.
Okay.
We didn't. Etch-a-Sketch was all we had.
Right.
Right.
That was it. But very early, I was looking at my mother's magazines.
Okay.
And that's where it all came from. The exactness I have is in style. That really is what it is. You're making me think back, and we need to think forward.
And yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you, I know you're involved quite a bit with nonprofits. So tell us kind of how you got involved with that and what you're currently doing with your nonprofits.
Well, right now I'm not doing a lot. What I love to do is just support.
Okay.
A lot of what you can do, if you don't have time, at least be a sponsor. I really wanted to get involved because I had what I referred to as white space in my calendar.
Okay.
You guys know that because
Mhm.
you understand that.
Yeah.
I wanted to give. So I started with DIFA.
Okay.
I was very well connected at the time, and I still am, but with creatives, a lot of creatives. So they would say, can you get us floral arrangements for all of our top tier promoters? And I'm like, yeah. How many do you need? 25. Went over and saw a florist friend of mine. I had an afternoon. I had white space. You want to have coffee and talk? Yeah. She said, what do you, and I said, I just wanted to spend some time with you. Spend time with her. And then I asked her for 25 arrangements, and she said yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it took.
So,
right.
yeah, you spend time with people, and we already knew each other.
Right.
So I started with that. I was also on the board of the Warren Center for Children. Those are children who were unfortunately born with things that everybody else doesn't think is normal, but it is their normal. And they have chromosome issues or other issues that they're born with or develop in early. And so I was brought in by several of my friends. They made me the creative director of their gala. They made me the director of their gala. And I absolutely loved being involved with something that really matters. Right. So I dipped my toe into different nonprofits. It's not that I don't like one other than the other. It's just it depends on who comes to me. Or I find out through another designer. I know a lot of fashion designers. I know a lot of product designers. And you never know what's going to touch you depending on where you live. Because I know people all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are some upcoming events for David Call Designs?
Well, I've launched something that I might trademark, which is Curato. This is something that has been one of my brainchilds for years. Many people who know me would say David's always had a collection in a corner in his design studio of little wonderful things. And now we've grown up with very wonderful things. So Curato has been my brainchild from about 6 years ago, and now it is a reality.
This was the event that I think I attended a month ago or so. Okay.
These are pop-ups. I have one of a kind and also curated pieces that were done by artisans, never made it to the line, but they're still made in Italy.
Okay.
They're one of a kind. You saw them at my Curato
Yes.
pop-up.
Yes.
Light fixtures, beautiful vessels, beautiful chairs, beautiful pieces that no one will ever see. This is not Wayfair. This is not Home Goods. This is a step way above. I only like to work with higher end vendors who that piece did not make it to the line. It doesn't make it any less important.
Right.
Not to mention, it's exquisite. I love one-of-a-kind pieces because they're like me. They will never be forgotten. They're a little quirky, and they're definitely high quality.
Right.
And that's what I love to have. I love to negotiate. I love that win when I negotiate, and they don't care. They're like, it's great. Honestly, it was an artisan piece. It's part of what got brought over in a big trunk. It is.
But you have to find a place for it.
Right. And what I found a place for was a showroom. So now I have a showroom space, which was my old design studio. We're stuck in a contract. Why not go ahead and use it?
Okay.
So it's all been staged. It's beautiful. It's unique. And we now are having quarterly pop-ups. We're going to have our next one in September, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to have new items. We've kind of put a pause on the marketing because we want to get new items and get them into the space. And this way we can photograph them properly, and we can put them out there and show people what you can get. This is my version of affordable quality. Italian-made items, beautiful. You bought a piece, beautiful blown glass. All my friends and my clients love blown glass, but we also have beautiful fabrications, beautiful cabinets, chests, nights, you name it, we've got it.
Right.
And
okay.
it's going to be, for the most part, a one only.
Okay.
So you're getting something that nobody else will have. And who doesn't want that?
It's true.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the businesses that I'm starting. I'm also going to be starting a new line of furniture.
Okay.
And I'm currently speaking with several home builders. This is something that I've been jonesing for, and it's right up my lane. And we are in talks about several lanes of expanding my brand, expanding their brand, and collaborating together. There's possible show houses coming up that I could be involved with. There are, all sorts of collaborations that we could be doing. Showrooms in the World Trade Center, designing those.
Oh, exciting.
Things of this nature that I am absolutely honored to be even considered, because this involves a lot of credibility with these showrooms, trust, and bringing it.
So
Where
do people find David Call? I mean, social media, where can we find you so that we can keep track of what you're doing? Can we?
Yes, definitely.
How do people get in touch with you? Anybody watching this, how are they going to be able to get in touch with you?
You can reach us if you want to email us. It's design@davidcalldesigns.com. You can also find us on Instagram. That's at Call on Design. That is my last name, CALL on Design. You can also find us on YouTube, same way. You can find us on our website, forgive me. You can also find us on our website, which is davidcalldesigns.com. The best part is you can go to our shop. That's Curado. You can shop. You can theorize. You can envision. You can buy.
And that's
And you can buy it before the opening in September of the new
there you
launch.
go. Okay.
You can go ahead and pre-buy it. We don't mind.
Okay.
And we might even let you take it before the show.
And that's Curato.
Yes,
Curato. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
And you will see that our logo is in the shop, so you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see the pieces that are still marked sold that were from the last show. We're clearing that up. We're starting to load new pieces.
Okay.
So that's where you can find us, and that's where you can get a sneak peek of all of our items.
That is fantastic. All right. So one more question before we go.
Yes.
How do you raise the bar either personally or professionally?
Professionally, I raise the bar by doing exactly what I should have told my younger self. Talking to people that you feel you're not credible enough for. Removing the fear, and that's the hard part about coming from where I came from, is you still get that fear factor in the back of your head. You have to remove that. You don't have to have that you're being fake because you don't have a degree. Screw that. No, that doesn't work for me. And so talking to people, that's how I got in touch with the builders, by walking over. And that's literally when I had one of the leaders in design give my name instead of his name to this builder and say, I'm handing off the baton.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
so
That's good.
that's how I do it professionally, is by raising myself up. We're really stepping back from designing homes right now, and we're working on the development of the company. Not that we don't want to do houses. We love design. We love decorating. One room at a time. We don't mind. We love that. But that's how we raise the bar, is by piecing ourselves apart and giving myself, as the leader of the company, the CEO, time to develop. The personal raising the bar is I bought my first house.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. And I'm going through the remodel construction pains that everybody goes through, but I'm raising the bar by investing in this home and going through the pains, and my friends are supporting me in this, and that's the raising of the bar there.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say
Fantastic.
thank you so much for joining our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank
It's been
you.
great.
It's been a pleasure.
It has
Of
been. It
course.
has been. Thanks to our sponsor, the Ashmore Law Firm.
We specialize in probate, estate planning, family law, guardianship, personal injury, and civil litigation.
You can find us at ashmorelaw.com.
Or by calling us at 214-559-7202.
Again, that's ashmorelaw.com.
Or calling 214-559-7202.